Hello, I am Dr. Elizabeth Samantha Rothschild, Judge, founder and Chief Executive Officer of Corporate Law and Securities Incorporated, with a national security brief. NABF, Chief Accounting Officer of Corporate Law and Securities Incorporated. One thing about being secure is financial stability. With security comes the costs of security, as with the accountability of being secure. So I was taking a look at the national deficit, and the most recent data showed approximately a little better than $100,000 per person in our populace. That means $100,000 per person. If each person could afford to pay $100,000 into the deficit, it would clear it up. Now, in past times, we had the stimulus, and everybody got their stimulus, especially from the pandemic, and no one sent any money into the national deficit. Everybody paid their bills and became credible or maintained credibility with their finances. Some people were actually stingy, tight-fisted, and arrogant about it, which is why the national deficit is such a sad debt for America to have. So for our national security, we need to get that debt down. We need to become financially stable without so much debt. Well, I found out that the money that I have earmarked, and I do have for Corporate Law and Securities Incorporated, in the billions, trillions, and quadrillions in business tax revenue credit, along with my salary and wages credit. So that's a lot of money. In the event that my mother, Monica Jones, who is the Chief Operations Officer of Corporate Law and Securities Incorporated, and I need to apply the order to inhibit, then for a while we would co-budget. We would be codependent in budget according to my disbursements, while her funds were delayed for particular audit purposes for her security. So the minimum amount we have to take is what I found out is $450 million a year. $450 million a year. That's still a lot of money for two people, even. Okay. What we at Corporate Law and Securities Incorporated can provide is another stimulus. This one wouldn't go into the pockets of anybody because we are in debt to the World Bank. We have a large sum national deficit, $100,000 per person, as I aforementioned. Corporate Law and Securities Incorporated can provide 1/4 per person into the World Bank on behalf of America to reduce the national deficit. Now, we tried the stimulus, everybody got their checks, nobody sent anything in, but we still have to get that down. Why? Because we need to be secure. And part of my job as a government official and on behalf of Corporate Law and Securities Incorporated as a federal agency is to keep us secure as possible. So when we collect our disbursement as allocated by earmarked funds, at the minimum, we will in turn provide credit into the national deficit at 1/4 of the cost per person in the populace. That feels good. So we'll get all the titles of that issued into the World Bank and cut that national deficit down. Because, we could take disbursement of all the funds, but what can two people do with that much money, just the two of them? And we are Americans, and we are patriotic. And we're going to do this for our country. So in the meantime, everyone, check your finances. Check them twice, because financial security is a major and important part to security at all. It costs money to be secure, and you can't spend if you're in debt. So we're going to free up some spending for America so that America can do what it needs to do for its citizens. Thank you all for listening. Have a great evening.